text message arrived at 3:47 a.m. I only saw it because our daughter Maya had been up with a fever, and I had fallen asleep in the rocking chair beside her crib. Asterisk, we're at the airport. We'll be back in a month. Don't wait up. 32 characters to summarize 15 years of marriage. I stared at David's message, my thumb hovering over the screen. A month. He'd said he had a critical business trip to Singapore. His mother had called it a family emergency she needed to attend with him. His brother Marcus said he was supporting David through a difficult time. Steris, but Singapore wasn't the destination lighting up his location on Find My Friends. He was in Switzerland, and he wasn't alone. I had known about Sienna for 6 months. The late-night strategy calls, the sudden interest in expensive cologne. The way he'd stopped looking at me during conversations. I'd hired a private investigator, not because I wanted to catch him, but because I needed to understand the depth of my own denial. Asterisk. The photos had been clinical. David and Sienna entering her apartment. David and Sienna at restaurants I had suggested we try for our anniversary. David's hand resting on his stomach, noticeably rounded outside. A clinic specializing in higher-risk pregnancies. Asterisk, but I'd said nothing. I'd been frozen, caught between the woman I'd been and whoever I was supposed to become next. Asterisk, now. Looking at his message, something inside me thawed and hardened simultaneously, like water turning to ice. I opened my laptop. David came from money, but I'd come from strategy. While his family had handed him a trust fund and a VP position at his father's commercial real estate firm. I'd built my own career as a forensic accountant. I understood money the way surgeons understand anatomy, every nerve, every vulnerability, every place to cut. Our prenuptial agreement had been David's lawyer's idea, full of protections for his family's assets. What they hadn't counted on was me actually reading it, understanding it, noting every loophole and provision, asterisk, and then carefully, over 15 years, becoming indispensable. Asterisk, I'd restructured his trust, managed his mother's investment portfolio after his father died, helped Marcus navigate a tax audit, advised his sister Lauren on her divorce settlement. I'd woven myself into the Harrison family finances so thoroughly that extracting me would be like removing a load-bearing wall. Asterisk, by 4:15 a.m. I had frozen David's personal accounts, the ones I was listed as Kawanaron, which was all of them except his trust. By 5:30 a.m., I had filed for legal separation and invoked the prenup's infidelity clause, which allowed immediate cessation of marital fund transfers pending investigation. Asterisk, at 6 a.m. I called Eleanor Harrison. Asterisk, Victoria. It's rather early. Asterisk, your son is in Switzerland watching his mistress give birth. He took Marcus, Lauren, your sister Patricia, and your cousins James and Catherine with him. They'll be gone a month. I'm freezing all joint accounts and filing for divorce. Asterisk, silence. Then, Victoria, let's not be hasty. Asterisk, Eleanor, I've managed your portfolio for 12 years. Your trust distributions flow through accounts David and I jointly control. The prenup gives me the right to freeze any accounts I suspect of being used to hide marital assets. That includes the transfer account David uses to disperse your monthly allowance. Asterisk, you wouldn't. Asterisk, I already did. You'll want to call your lawyer. Asterisk, I hung up and called Marcus's wife, then Lauren's partner, then Patricia's husband. By 7 a.m., I'd systematically informed every spouse and partner that their family members were overseas, tending the birth of David's illegitimate child, and that the Harrison family's complex web of joint finances was now locked, pending legal review. Asterisk, then I took Maya to the pediatrician for a fever. Asterisk, the call started while I was in the waiting room. Asterisk, David first. What the fuck did you do? I declined it. Eleanor, Victoria, we need to talk about this. Reasonably declined. Marcus, you're being vindictive. Declined. Then the lawyers. I answered those. Mrs. Harrison, I'm representing David Harrison I know why you're calling. The prenuptial agreement. Section 14, Subsection C gives me the right to freeze accounts if I have reasonable suspicion of infidelity or asset concealment. I have documentation. Your client left the country with his pregnant mistress. The accounts stay frozen until the investigation completes. We'll file whatever you want. Discovery will be fascinating. I've been a forensic accountant for 20 years. I know exactly where to look. They came back 3 weeks later instead of 1. I knew because Marcus's wife, Jennifer, called me from the airport. She left Marcus the day after I'd told her where he really was. Now she wanted to watch them arrive. Asterisk, Terminal B, she said. I'll save you a seat. Asterisk, I almost didn't go. But Jennifer had brought her lawyer and her sister, and they'd convinced Lauren's now ex-partner to come. And suddenly, it felt less like revenge and more like witnessing. Asterisk, they emerged from customs, looking exhausted. David carried an infant car seat, his face drawn. Sienna walked beside him, moving stiffly, postpartum body evident, even in expensive athleisure. Eleanor, Marcus, Lauren, Patricia, James, and Catherine trailed behind with luggage, looking like they'd aged years and weeks. Asterisk, Marcus saw Jennifer first. He stopped walking. Then David saw me. I stood there, Maya on my hip, wearing the composure I'd learned in boardrooms and bankruptcy proceedings. I didn't smile, didn't cry, just watched. Victoria, David started. Your cards won't work, I said calmly. Your accounts are frozen. Your mother's distribution account is locked. The house is in my name. We refinanced it under my credit during the audit. Remember? Your trust is untouchable, but the liquidity accounts you use for actual spending, those require my signature to unlock. Asterisk. Eleanor stepped forward. This is ridiculous. We can asterisk. You can what, Eleanor? You all left the country to attend the birth of my husband's affair baby. You chose your side. Now, live with it. Asterisk. We have nowhere to go, Lauren said, quietly. She looked genuinely frightened. Asterisk. There are hotels, Airbnbs. I'm sure your trust funds will clear eventually. But that takes time. Lawyers, paperwork, proving that the accounts weren't used to hide assets or fund affairs. I adjusted Maya on my hip. I'd estimate 6 to 8 weeks, if you're efficient. You're destroying this family, Patricia hissed. No, I said. I'm just the accountant. I'm closing the books on what you all destroyed. Asterisk. Jennifer stepped forward then, standing beside me. Marcus, the divorce papers are at the house. Lauren, Teresa left yours on the kitchen counter before she moved out yesterday. Asterisk. David's face crumbled. Victoria, please. The baby asterisk has 2 parents, I said. Figure it out. Asterisk. I turned and walked away. Jennifer beside me. The sound of Maya's babbling in my ear, covering whatever David called after me. Asterisk. 6 weeks later. David's lawyer called with the settlement offer. The prenup held. I kept the house, full custody of Maya, and a percentage of marital assets that reflected my contributions to his career and family. Management. Asterisk. I heard through Jennifer that they'd been staying in an extended stay hotel, burning through credit cards, waiting for lawyers to untangle the accounts I'd systematically frozen. Asterisk. I heard David and Sienna split up after 3 weeks. The baby was beautiful, apparently. Being a single father, less so. Asterisk. The Harrison family eventually got their money back, but Eleanor stopped speaking to David. Marcus lost his marriage. Lauren lost her partner. They'd each made their choice on that airport tarmac to Switzerland, prioritizing David's affair over their own families. Asterisk. I made mine in a rocking chair at 3:47 a.m., watching my daughter sleep. Asterisk. Sometimes love freezes over. Sometimes that's the only way to see clearly. Asterisk. And sometimes the accountant balances the books after all.